Newcastle United destroyed, dismantle, smashed to pieces the might, the powerhouse that is Paris Saint-Germain. Luis Enrique, Kylian Mbappe, the ooze, absolutely humbled by the Toon Army tonight. And what a home return. The first time in 20 years. What a return for Newcastle United. Their players, Edide Howe. And you know what? The fans have endured so much nonsense, so much rubbish, so much mistreatment over the past 2 decades. The turnaround that the new owners have given them, the appointment of Edide Howe, all those bad times that have preceded this. What a moment, what a night, what an absolute privilege it was to witness one of the best games of this season and one of the best games in European football for an English club for many, many a year. The group of death, top of the league. They're top of the table in the group of death. There's still many, many trials and tribulations to go, but nothing more than a massive well done and a round of applause for Newcastle United tonight that were, to a man, brilliant. Yes, they didn't have all of the ball. In fact, the last time I saw the stat, I haven't really been watching the stats tonight, 66% of the ball, I think, Paris Saint-Germain had. It was irrelevant. The majority of the chances, the ball in dangerous areas, was dominated by Newcastle. The potency of their attack compared to that of Paris Saint-Germain's was night and day. And what impressed me so much tonight about Newcastle was a couple of things. First thing was this: their shape. Their shape, whether it be pressing the ball and putting pressure upon Paris Saint-Germain, there was nobody off running around like a headless chicken looking to be a hero. They hunted in numbers. They hunted as a team. They won that ball back so impressively. They kept the crowd involved, cheering every tackle, cheering everything they won, which was excellent to see. But they maintained that shape every single time Paris Saint-Germain attacked. And of course, with the likes of Mbappe, the likes of Ousmane Dembele, they're always going to create openings and opportunities. I thought that Ramos tonight, I thought Mawani, those men were pocketed for 90 minutes. So was Mbappe, by the way. One of the quietest nights I've ever seen him have. But this was because of the Newcastle shape. They allowed very little opportunity for PSG to exploit holes or mistakes. When they did manage to circumvent the press, the work rate to get back in behind was impeccable. You compare that to Paris Saint-Germain. Listen, I know Mbappe is brilliant, and maybe you can get away with him doing it. But there were times in the game where all 4 of the main attackers of Paris Saint-Germain weren't even tracking back. They weren't even trying to get into a shape. So the result didn't surprise me. The quality on the ball, the patterns of play when they countered, when they attacked from Newcastle was absolutely brilliant. They had people committing themselves, and there was a belief within them. So not only did they work hard, not only did they keep their shape, not only can you see they're well drilled in the way they attack, there's a belief in this team. And I think what made things extra special tonight for Newcastle is the fact that they had Longstaff, academy player, score a goal. Dan Burn, local lad who I don't think he ever played for, I don't know if he was at their academy when he was younger, but left Newcastle, played elsewhere, comes back at this stage of his career and the journey and the arc that Newcastle were on and scores. You got Miggy Almirón scoring, who, listen, I know he's not from Newcastle, but I bet the people in Newcastle, the Geordies, will treat him as one of their own. Him scoring as well. And Fabian Sherry's been at the club a while. What a way to top the night off. But you know what? The shape was brilliant. The pressing was great. The patterns of play in the attack were excellent. The people that scored, it was romantic and beautiful. The fans were absolutely sensational tonight. But you know what I thought was most impressive tonight about Newcastle United? When they conceded their goal. Now, off the top of my head, I'm not too sure exactly what time it was. I want to say about 55 minutes. It might have been a little bit later than that. It might have been 65 minutes. Let me just get this. I want to get this. I want to get it up in front of me because it's significant. It was 56 minutes. The crowd went very quiet. The energy got sucked out. The players, they looked as though they might become withdrawn. But you saw Edide Howe on the sideline screaming at his players, encouraging his players. There was great leadership on that football pitch. They maintained their shape. They maintained their high line. They continued to play the way they had done the whole game. Now, they were exhausted by this point, and Paris Saint-Germain really coming on strong. That's why they ended up getting that fourth goal the way they did. But to not lose their heads, to remain confident, to have the mentality to see that through. When many a team could have conceded that goal at 56 minutes and gone, Ousmane Dembele's out here, Kylian Mbappe's out here, we could be in trouble. And Newcastle United tonight, there was not an ounce, not a moment of inferiority complex in any capacity. So a well-drilled team with brilliant confidence, excellent shape, a manager proving that he belongs at this level. The fans did their part tonight, and overall, one of the best nights I've seen an English club have at European football. When you look at the occasion it was, of course, there's been big semi-finals, finals, knockout games that will probably, in many people's eyes, eclipse this. But 20 years without a home Champions League game. There's a moment where the camera panned to Alan Shearer, and he looked very emotional, almost as if he was about to burst into tears. It's everything this club has endured since Mike Ashley took over until the new ownership came in 18 months towards 2 years ago. What a turnaround. Individually today, like I mentioned a few players already. I made a list here. Burn at left back. How the hell is somebody that is 8'7" that good at left back? It's beyond me, but he is. Cher and Lascelles in centre back pairing tonight, out of this world. Trippier, all his experience came through. Tonali, good. I wouldn't say amazing, good performance from him tonight from me. Bruno Guimaraes. Some of his one-touch, two-touch passing, knocking that ball around the corner, excellent. Longstaff, bruv. I remember when Man United were linked to him 5 years ago, and everyone laughed and said, why would you want a pale-skinned ginger guy? No seasoning. Look at him now at a club that with good structure, good ownership, very talented coach and manager. He's very, very good. I'm not suggesting he's a world beater, but he's a very good player. And he balled out tonight against Paris Saint-Germain with Mbappe in the team. I thought the whole front three did different things tonight in Gordon, Isak, and Almirón, but were all absolutely brilliant at the tasks that they were given. The players, the Hernandezes, the Hakimis, that they were up against, the Marquinhoses, to be able to stand up and say, we belong here. We're not here because 3 or 4 other big teams in the Prem had a bad season last year. We're here by merit. We're here to stay. We want to deliver. And listen, are they a favourite to win this tournament? No. But if you can beat Paris Saint-Germain like that, you can do anything. You can do anything. And if they start to believe and they continue to invest, which their owners will, this Newcastle team is going places. What a night. What a performance in every single which way, shape, and form. And there's a big part of me, I'm not going to lie to you all, there's a part of me right now that is jealous and angry. But as a 37-year-old man, I have learned to suppress those feelings, be professional and smile, be happy for Newcastle. The Man United fan in me wants to scream and find something to be salty about and be angry, because watching you guys tonight made me so sad about my own club. But instead of projecting that sadness into anger, I'm just going to praise you. It's far more cathartic, therapeutic, and a healthier way to live. And I just hope that one day my club gets a takeover that we need and want, and we see that. Because as good as Edide Howe is and these players are, the ownership, this is where I'm credible from top to bottom. Every time Liverpool have been amazing, I've spoken about how well run they are. City, yes, they've got Pep. Yes, they've got brilliant players, but they are where they are because of how well run they are. Newcastle have grown this quickly in the past 2 years because they're now well run. Well-run football clubs with big budgets do well. It's really not hard. Big clubs, small clubs, whatever size you are, run poorly, do badly. The more money you spend when you run badly, the more you keep your head above water. That's the way it is. So the owners, the board, I don't even know who they all are at Newcastle because I don't research it, but they need a massive pat on the back tonight. Now, Newcastle got to settle down, have your party tonight. I mean, listen, I hope nobody expects there to be any work or productivity from the city of Newcastle tomorrow. They should have a national holiday up there. But then after that, you settle down, you get back to the weekend, you get back to playing. There's a long way to go. But I don't want to hear any nonsense about over-celebrating. I don't want to hear any nonsense about it's just one game. They haven't won it. Calm down. No. This is where me and Lee gonna differentiate from each other. I don't think tonight you don't celebrate, you don't go crazy just because it isn't lifting a trophy, because it's a marker in the direction of which you are going in, and you should celebrate those achievements 110,000%. We have some super chats here. First one says Mbappe can't blame Neymar and Messi now, and shout out to Alvarez and Doku saving the day. I mean, I haven't mentioned City yet, but we have got Nobbins, Hamza coming out in a few moments to chat about that. I did have that game on as well. That was just City dominated. I thought City were really good. Yes, it was 1-1 for a long period of that second half, but the goals were coming. Alvarez comes on, Doku come on, bang, bang, goal. And they don't get that third defeat on a bounce. They don't get that 3 games on the row without winning. And I didn't think City looked in any danger at all tonight. Even PSG's league season is questionable. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know this because I haven't watched much of that league at all this season, but somebody said it's their worst start to a league campaign in 13 years. Where are they in their league? Oh, they're 5th. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, with the amount of money they spend compared to everybody else, that's horrendous. Missing Haaland and Mbappe, last found in their city. Yeah, but City won, so it doesn't matter, but I hear you. As a Chelsea fan, Alvarez is a very special player. He is. He's a very, very special player indeed. So embarrassing. Newcastle top while Arsenal are second. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't really look at things like through that lens. I've got a bone to pick with Lee saying Xavi deserves to be sacked. Who is laughing now? Well, I spoke about that earlier on today. I had someone DM me saying, you've got to apologize to Lee Gunner. He was so right about Ten Hag. I'm like, yeah, he was at the moment. He's getting that right. But he also said that Jurgen Klopp was finished and Liverpool were going to go backwards with him staying as manager. He said he should be sacked and that Xavi would be gone by Christmas. We all get things right. We all get things wrong. And none of us, but dude, I genuinely mean this. There isn't a football YouTuber out there who, generally speaking, has a superior knowledge to the majority of the people that view us. And any content creator that thinks they have a superior understanding of the game based versus the average fan are deluding themselves. Genuinely are deluding themselves. It's just anyone that believes that's crazy. And I really don't believe that, by the way. I'm just saying it's crazy. I'm going to bring my panel out now to have their say on this show. Do us a favor, though, people. Smash that damn like button. Let's get this past 1,000 likes. Just make sure you've got those bell notifications turned on as well. We've got Strasbourg Steve. We've got D-Man. We've got Nobbins. We've got Hamza. And, of course, we've got Mojenda. Mojenda back on the show with us tonight to chat his lot about the games that we have just seen and witnessed. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all good. D-Man and Steve there. Man's on the Wednesday night.
Oh, my. What a win. That is honestly, I thought we were going to scrape a win or something. I thought, PSG Saint-Germain, I thought they were going to set up 4-3-3, to be honest. They went 4-2-4, and in midfield, they had no control of that game whatsoever. And what was even stranger is that Vitinha came on for them, and they brought off Ugarte, and nothing really changed.
Forget them. Talk about us.
Man, I don't even know what to say. I literally have no idea what to say, man. I thought we were excellent. Like Terry said, the shape was brilliant. Dan Burn got beat once or twice, but to be honest, Lascelles. He was excellent, making some very good tackles, went into aerial duels. Same with Fabian Schär. Good passing. The goal from Schär was unbelievable. I honestly, just what a performance. I did not see it.
I don't know what's more impressive tonight. Newcastle's performance or your moustache, bruv. Both absolutely tip-top. There's no doubt. D-Man, an historic night. And I mean this with respect because me and you look about the same vintage. It's been a long time coming, 20 long years to experience that home game back at St. James's Park. And what a way to really re-announce yourselves as a Champions League club.
Listen, what a performance, yeah? Like you said, 20 years. I still remember the 3-2 against Barcelona with Asprilla and that. But this is just as good for me. I can't believe. Listen, to a man, excellent. And I think man of the match, Fabian Schär. I think he was a colossus at the back, topped it up with a goal. But everyone performed tonight. Luis Enrique, he lost as a player, lost as a manager. He just can't get the win against us. But listen, Cloud nine. I think, like you said, we set up really well. I think we managed the game well, defended well, but we didn't. We actually came to play football. We pressured them. We fully deserved the win. I can't stop smiling. I think
after the first 10 minutes, I thought that we slammed the gas on the press. I thought the pressing intensified, and it was wave after wave after wave after wave.
And we looked confident on the ball as well. When we had the ball, we played around them. We looked confident. The little passes. I think Tonali had a very good game. One of the best games he's had for us. But Bruno again, excellent. I think, listen, absolutely amazing. And Mbappe got shackled.
Not a shot on target. A shot on target. It's crazy.
Shout out yourselves as well, because like you said, like he's coming to the team. You know, everyone was threatening when Botman went out, and since he's coming, he hasn't put a foot wrong. And he was again amazing.
It just goes to show, doesn't it, what happens when you have a well-drilled team, a confident team with belief, a team with a great mentality. You can have a player like Botman go out. The Lascelles, who's good, but nowhere near Botman's level, can step in. And if you have to play for 10, 15 games straight, you won't get the same levels as Botman. But in that short term, came in and delivered. Mo's with us. Obviously, Mo, you're a connoisseur of European football. What did you make of that performance, that win tonight from Newcastle United?
I was watching the game and I kept thinking about Manchester United. It's very strange, huh? I swear to God, people don't believe that. So I was watching the game and all I can think of is this guy, Jamal Lascelles, that people said he's only a championship player. And it just echoes what you said, Terry. When the environment is right, when the commitment is there, when everybody's playing for the club and everybody wants to win, you see that performance. Everybody putting in tackles, they're running, everybody's running there. Every single player wanted to win this game and believe that they can win. Again, it's PSG. Sorry, Kylian Mbappe, a renowned player. Like, look at this, one of the best players in the world, if not the best player. Like Ousmane Dembele, Dan Burn, wasn't scared. Yeah. You look at this and you compare it to the Man United, and I'm bringing it to Man United, not taking anything away from Newcastle, but that's a different environment, and this is what a club is going forward. Stable club goes forward, and this is what you see. Like in the first game against Milan, they were absolutely shambolic, but they got away with a point. Today, they humbled PSG. Like, we can talk tactics and everything, but today Newcastle won just because they wanted to win and they believed they can win. And every single fan in the stadium believed that they can win the game. It didn't matter if it went to Mbappe, went to Vitinha, it didn't matter.
Can I just say, there was I listened to Talk Sport today, right? And there was a kid, I think he was 8 years old, I forgot his name. And he predicted 4-0 Newcastle, but he did say Dan Burn is going to shackle whoever's against him, and he said Dan Burn's going to score as well. So big shout out to him as well.
You know, I actually people called me crazy this morning because I said that Newcastle can win. I'm not going to predict the future, but I said for me it was a 60-40 because PSG are overrated. I watched about 2 games. They're overrated. Yes, they have this world-class player. Mbappe looked disinterested today. He didn't care if they won or lost. Oh, who cares? I wanted to go. To be honest, like Newcastle, they made their fans proud. Edide Howe proved that I can still press against these fast players and I can win the game. My center-back, Fabian Schär, 3-1, and he's pressing ahead of the halfway line. That proves the shape is right. Everybody knows what they want to do. And yeah, as you said, well-drilled team will win a game and everybody is committed. They will win a game. It's a reflection of how stable the club is.
Yeah. No shadow of a doubt. You're absolutely right. It is a true reflection of how well run the football club is. In terms of Newcastle, Mo, I'm not going to get ahead of ourselves and say, can they win it? Because I think that would be a ridiculous question at this point. But how much? There's a lot of people that felt they made top 4 last year, but maybe that came too soon and they would be shown up in the Champions League. They would struggle in the Premier League. They maybe had a slightly poor start this season, and straight away people jumped on this bandwagon of, see, told you, last year was a bit of a fluke. Their Premier League form's stepping up. first 2 games into the group of death, which they were going to come bottom of, they're sitting top of. This team's got a lot more in it, a lot more gas in the tank. Would you say?
100%. Like in the beginning of the season, people said they're going to finish 10th, and I said no, they will still finish in the top 6. I put them at 6 behind Spurs in my predictions. I put Man United as 4th, and I'm in the mud for that. It's not looking like it's going to happen anytime soon. But listen. The players, they bought the right players. Like Anthony Gordon, I don't like Anthony Gordon. I'm not convinced, but he puts the effort in and he wants to develop, and he's playing for the team.
He fits the team.
Alexander Isak is absolutely developing. Someone like Jacob Murphy came on today. They have a good squad. And I said, I'm going to say one thing. Newcastle are the only team in the Premier League. The only team in the Premier League. Someone is playing a video or something in the background. The only team in the Premier League that have 2 players in every position, apart from the center back. The only team, by the way, in the Premier League. And the only problem is they had 1 injury in the left wing, right? The guy that got injured.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes.
Harvey Barnes got injured. But in every position, they have 2 players. So they basically have 2 teams. Maybe they're not the highest quality, but Edide Howe, if he can manage that, I think they can play in every competition. They got out of 1 competition, if I'm not mistaken. But I predicted him to go out of this group because I overrated, to be honest, Luis Enrique and PSG. I did overrate Luis Enrique and PSG. And it's a tough battle. But Newcastle, they are going in the trajectory of, we're here to stay. We're not here to just drop and be 10th or stuff. They're not, I'm sorry, they're not going to be Brentford. They're not going to be Sheffield United, where they came top 7 one season and then dropped.
I think what helps us, like I said, with the 2 players in every position is the games that we've got in between the European games. And when you look at them, we've got the hard start, like I said, the Liverpool, the Man Cities, but we've had Sheffield United, Brentford, Sheffield United, and we've got West Ham. So I think that kind of helps Howe with his selection. He doesn't have to go full strength in all those games because we're good enough to get points off those teams. So I think that helps us in a big way. And like you said, we want 4 points now, off to a good start, win our home games. We're more than capable of beating Dortmund and Milan at home. It's looking quite positive. It's looking very positive.
Hey,
you know what?
Sorry, go on, mate.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, you know what? The thing is, it's like I'm just so proud of the guys tonight because we seized the moment. We weren't just enthralled by the spectacle and the occasion. We didn't just live in that and be content with it. We grabbed the opportunity with both hands and made the absolute most of it. That's the thing for me, where it's like I feel like in the Carabao Cup, I think we played a bit too much of the occasion. Whereas now in these big games, to a lesser extent, last week against Man City, it was B team. We didn't play the occasion. We played our football.
And the game management.
I wanted to ask a question to Terry. Why Edide Howe can get the best out of, a mediocre player?
True, it's true.
On the big stage, Terry, but some other managers can't. Can anybody answer that?
So listen, I have a genuine theory on this. When you said, Mo, that when you were watching the game, you were thinking about Man United, I was. And that's because I'm a Man United fan. And there was a part of me that was envious, a part of me that was jealous, a part of me that wished we had better owners, as I said earlier. But what reminded me of the Man United game is the way our crowd was last night compared to the Newcastle crowd. There were similarities. When Rasmus Højlund got his 2nd goal last night, I jumped up and ran around the room. I ran into his office. I was so happy because it felt like a little bit of coming of age for him. And it was like, look, we're playing well, we scored. And then we went and conceded straight away. We didn't keep our shape. Our players stopped working hard. Then we lost our heads. The difference is for me is that I think Ten Hag. I think if Ten Hag leaves Man United tomorrow, he'll go somewhere else and do a very good job. I think there's a very good coach in there.
Yeah.
The difference is Newcastle will run well, and people hate that reasoning because they go, "That's just excuses." It isn't. Well-run clubs from top to bottom, where everybody is striving and pulling in the same direction, deliver. And the reason I know this is a factual piece of information is every home, every workplace, every school, every classroom, every lecture hall, every business, every sports team in every corner of the world follows that same pattern. If everybody is pulling in the same direction, yes, they challenge each other. Yes, there'll be disagreements at times, but everybody's target is the same thing. Everybody is pulling in the same direction. There is always going to be harmony. Every single Newcastle player is doing is doing their job because they want to do it for the manager. The manager has got full support, top to bottom, from the owners who want the same thing as the manager, and that is to become the best football team in the world. That is how it's done. Because if Eddie Howe was managing Newcastle under Mike Ashley, they wouldn't be good, in my opinion. How do we know this? Because Newcastle in the last 20 years have had a number of decent managers. And they never did this, including Rafa Benitez. So we've seen this before. If you start to, it's a combination of everything. If that makes, people always try and do this. Oh, it's just the manager who's brilliant. Well, no, they've had brilliant managers before and it didn't work. Yeah. Newcastle signed some really good players in the last 20 years. Didn't work. So for me, it's a combination of everything. I don't think it's just one thing. He's a good manager. He's a bad manager. Newcastle, got to remember this. Newcastle's new signings would turn up, go to the training ground. Oh, we need an ice bath.
Really big.
And they were told to get into wheelie bins and paddling pools for children. The message that sends to your players is we are not serious.
Yeah.
And the difference is now they all know this is a serious place to be, and it focuses the mind and it makes people run through walls. I've seen that in my professional life. I've seen it in my personal life. And I know it's what goes on right now. And I had an argument not long ago, Mo, on social with a guy who told me, he was a Man United fan. And he said that day-to-day at training, and in the dressing room on match days, he said he doesn't believe there's a difference in the behavior, the attitude of the general staff and players between Man United and Man City. He said it will be identical. It's a nonsense there'll be any difference in behavior. And for me, I laughed like that. I was on Twitter, but I'm at home laughing, saying I can't believe what I am hearing, because I guarantee you there is a fundamental difference between those two places of work.
150%.
There just is. And that's why.
Listen, 150%. I was speaking to Mohamed Kaloun. If you're old enough, you know Mohamed Kaloun. He played for Inter. He was the captain of the Sierra Leone team. He's here in Houston. And I was speaking to him. I played against him and I was speaking to him. And he was telling me the difference between that Inter team when they had Ronaldo. And that's why he left Inter. He said, I left because it was too strict in every aspect of my life. He went to the Etihad in Saudi Arabia to collect the money and live like a king. He played for Monaco, he played for Inter, and he said in training ground, it's completely different between a club and the next club. There is a club that is more strict, that they want to win, and a club that is lenient, and they bend for the big players. He said that happens in reality, and it's very obvious that Newcastle players, it doesn't matter what's your name, you're going to work hard. For Man City today, Jack Grealish, superstar, it doesn't matter. You go out, someone else, Bernardo Silva goes out. Everybody is working for one goal. It's not happening at Man United, and it's very obvious. And if you can't see it, you're freaking blind.
Yeah.
You're blind.
Sorry, that's what I say, Steve. To bring it back to Newcastle, Eddie Howe is a fantastic coach, and he was somebody when he was at Bournemouth, I rated and praised. He then got relegated and his stock dropped and suddenly nobody wanted him anymore. People spoke about him like he was a bum. Eddie Howe, 5 years ago in the Prem, is what everybody says De Zerbi is right now. That was the way, for all the kids that don't remember, that is how he was being discussed. And he is an impeccable motivator, an impeccable tactician. He understands to not try and play a style of football that the overall squad can't deliver. So he plays within the means that he has. But you couple that with an excellent board, a club that's striving to win, and a squad that knows if you're not pulling your weight and doing as the manager says, the board are backing him, not you. And all those things together are creating the best Newcastle team we've seen now in 20 years, and a team that wants to win those big trophies, that wants to become something special. And as a man, I'm sure there are fans of multiple clubs watching that are like, I'm just jealous. And they may not be better than your club right now, but I'm telling you this now. In my opinion, barring Man City, there's no guarantee that any other club barring Man City in 5 years' time is going to be above Newcastle overall. The only team I would say that I would still say would be above them is City because of where they are now, and I don't see their owners being relentless. Everybody else, I don't think any of the other top teams, Man United definitely, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, none of them are as well run as Newcastle United right now. None of them. Not one. And they are going to be very, very hard to compete with because of that overall and overarching stuff. Now, people will say Arab money, yawn. Listen,
don't care.
It is what it is. It is what it is. And if your club tomorrow was overtaken by somebody from the Middle East or any part of the world with that kind of money, you would be celebrating. You would be opening the champagne. I'm going to do a little bit of a Conor McGregor here. You'd be on the phone to your wife saying, "Crack out the red panties, baby. We've made it. We're there. We've done it." Everybody would. And look, True Geordie is a man I respect him as a content creator and what he's achieved. He did that. For years, he slagged off City. They get the Saudi owners. And I remember watching his video and he was just like a kid in the candy store. It's it. The reason people project against City, against Chelsea, against Newcastle is jealousy. That is it. That's it. Yeah. So, yeah, 110%. You can't get away from that.
Jared, do you want to do some super chats? Because I was going to answer Mo's question about Edide Howe and why do you think he gets most out of lesser players? Or do you want to do super chats?
If you can answer that within a minute for me, then we'll go to the super chats. And I want to speak on City as well tonight. But stay with us, people. Go on, Steve.
I was just going to say, you know why I think that Edide Howe gets the more out of lesser players than like an Arteta out of a Nelson? It's because Edide Howe had to start from the bottom of the bottom. He had no choice in League Two with Bournemouth facing bankruptcy and all the wild stuff. He had no choice but to work with what he had. He had no choice. And he had to continue to improve as a manager, be like, I need to get better at this. I need to get better at the defensive aspect of my game. Let me go talk to Diego Simeone. He is willing to learn, and he has started from the bottom. Klopp at Mainz. That's not a big profile club. He had to work with limited resources. Look at what Klopp does. He gets the most out of players. That for me is the answer, because he had to start from nothing and he had to make.
Mate, it's him as a cut. He earned his stripes very early on. You're bang on there, mate. At least there's a United that can win at home. Thanks. I don't understand why you're faking your anger about United, Terry. Last time I saw the Champions League table, they were in the top 4. Fuck. Why am I catching strays tonight? Mbappe to Notts County FC. That's NCFC is Notts County FC. I'm just saying.
Norwich City, isn't it? Norwich City.
Or Norwich City, yeah, it's one of the two. Doku and Alvarez, £70 million over Kai Havertz, £65 million is what German Chicken Wing says here. Yeah, they both look sensational. Wow. They really do. I would love Barca versus Newcastle matchup.
Bring it on.
I bet you would, Debbie. I bet you would.
I'll take anyone in the world at home at St. James Park. Bring it on. Bring it on.
I like that attitude, Steve.
Bring it on.
Also, because they have no pressure right in the Champions League. I mean, you could say there's a little bit of there being no pressure. I understand that, but they've still got to deliver. Yeah. So I think there's an element of that. Again, we have to test this Newcastle team when suddenly people start talking about them as favourites, and you have to win these things. That may change the perception. But what Newcastle fans have been impeccable at doing, the general Newcastle fan, is they're not heat. You know, like Spurs have been brilliant these opening 7 games, and there's a percentage of Tottenham fans that are like, we're winning the league. It's like, why are you bringing this attention on your team? Newcastle fans just sit there. In fact, City fans have done a treble, and they still sit there and go, we might win the league, we might not, I don't know. They just kind of keep their heads below the parapet, and that relieves pressure. So that's a technique. Barca are winning without being well-run. Excuses.
What?
Well, see, this is where you're wrong, you see. So there's accusations of historical wrongdoing and corruption at the club. But if you do your research here, German Chicken Wing, there had a lot of new people coming to the club about 18 months ago. One of them actually is Jordi Cruyff, the ex-Man United player and the son of Johan Cruyff. And the running of the club got turned around very, very quickly. So again, do your research, brother, because you've just made yourself look like an unseasoned piece of raw chicken. There, my friend, you really, really have. Speaking of City, Nobbins, an important win tonight, because you don't really want to be going into this game against Arsenal with 3 games without a win. There was a few moments where it looked like it might get away from you, but you guys came out on top again.
Yeah, first of all, big up Newcastle for showing that PSG are absolute frauds and prove me right every single season. Yes, really good win. We've never won at RB Leipzig, actually. We've been there twice. We lost once and drew once. So really important to get the win. On paper, this is probably our hardest away game. You might say, away in Serbia maybe is like technically harder, but because of the atmosphere. Yeah. But certainly in terms of the personnel, this is our trickiest game. So important to get the win. Probably important from a narrative perspective as well, because if we didn't win, this would have been the 3rd game on the bounce we haven't won. I personally wasn't worried about that, because one of them was a League Cup game, which wasn't really that relevant anyway. The Wolves game is, but yeah, we were really good. Silly defensive mistake by Kanji for the goal we conceded, but I was happy with the game overall. Foden is unbelievable. Rico Lewis is only 18 and is absolutely bossing it as an 8 now. He can play it right back. He can play as a sort of like a 6. And now he's doing the 8-10 hybrid role. It's fantastic. Foden, again, demonstrating different strings to his bow, linking up with Grealish on the left. Haaland does need to stop missing. It's getting a little bit annoying, but at the same time, he's top scorer in the Premier League. I think he scored like 10 days ago. So it's not like a massive issue for me, to be honest. Like, and some mad City fans online saying, "What's happened to Haaland?" Literally nothing. He scored like 10 days ago. Don't worry about it. Yeah, exactly. He will be fine. I'd be more worried if he wasn't getting the chances, but he is getting the chances, and the finishing will return because it is Erling Haaland at the end of the day. So yeah, just a fan. And then Doku came on. Alvarez came on. Alvarez is ridiculous, by the way.
He's the truth, man. He's the truth.
Yeah, it's sort of unfair that he is that good and he's not even being played in the right position. He's a striker playing as an 8-10.
How old is he, sorry? How old is Alvarez?
He's slightly older than Haaland. He's 23, I believe. I think he's a few years. He's a few months older than Haaland, so he's 23. And he's just ridiculous, as I say. Not playing out of position all the time. Striker as an attacking midfielder. He's probably the closest we're going to get to at City in terms of replacing De Bruyne's ball striking ability. We don't really have anyone else like that. I'm just incredibly impressed with a lot of assets of City's game tonight. It's just a shame we're not going to have Rodri on Sunday. But Bernardo starting, that's
really?
massive.
You were impressed by Man City today? Impressed.
He found a way to get the job done.
That's how you would put it. Like you were impressed
with those specific individuals I just listed. Yeah.
Okay.
I was impressed with. Yeah.
I am not gonna come into Slack City, but however, to be honest with you, in my note I said you had a lot of position, but there was no individual that was able to drive at them and make things happen other than Foden. When Doku came in and Alvarez,
Rico Lewis as well.
That's the thing. When Doku came in and Alvarez, you see the difference between someone who can drive at defense and unlock 10 players behind the ball. That's the difference.
I think I take that on board, but I think there's a lot of context as well of. I think honestly, Pep probably would have been happy with a draw, to be honest. As I say, we've never won there before. It is even though it is City and it is only Leipzig or whatever, it is still an away game in the Champions League quite early on in the group where we don't quite know how the table is going to materialize. I think that if this was a must-win game, I think you probably would see a more intense City potential as well, and then maybe you would be more impressed.
Was it a case of they're playing within themselves, and if they needed to raise a level, they would?
I personally think so. I think so. Yeah, you could just like tell this is a very not casual is not the right word, but as I say, it wasn't overly intense.
It's functional machine like at the moment. City.
Yeah, exactly. They've get the job done.
They've got the individuals to get the job done, and Alvarez is just. You can say all about Haaland; he's a great goal scorer, but Alvarez is that player.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. And then when you've got the likes of, as you say, Alvarez to bring on, and then even Doku to bring on, and I think he's averaging like a take on every 4 minutes or something. It's just ridiculous. Like he's a fullback's nightmare. Yes, so Gvardiol is fantastic, defensively solid. I have question marks about Akanji's defending. Question marks about can he play this John Stones role? He's getting better at it, but he is caught in possession too frequently for my
I think you
liking.
Can allow him a night. You can allow him a night off because he's.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to be overly critical, obviously, but I am. I'm being a bit of a perfectionist there. But I thought, look, we got the win. That's the most important thing. 6 points now, top of the table, and from here we should win.
Professional performance. It's a professional.
Exactly. Yeah. Not as sexy as Newcastle, but it did the job.
Leipzig they're in good form. They played Bayern off the park last Saturday and have done really well in the Bundesliga. I watch almost all of their games. Like they are a well-drilled, good side. Lukeba has been a phenomenal addition. Simons, Forsberg, I think, is also decent. They got a good squad and a good team. They showed up to play against you guys. They frustrated you for a bit of it, but I credit to you guys. You guys had that quality and the resilience to go away to a ground that you haven't won in 2 years to get the dub. So credit to you.
Definitely, yeah. Like they definitely aren't shit. Like a lot of people think, City, Haaland scored 5 goals against them last season. Yeah, but that was at the Etihad, totally different context. They aren't a terrible team at all. and they looked threatening on the counter-attack for the most part. Aside from the one goal, I thought we did well to limit them. So yeah, I'm more than happy, to be honest, with the performance and the results.
Hamza, do you agree there with what Nobbins is that to say?
Yeah, I have to say, like, listen, Leipzig, they're a very, very tough team. Like, they're way tough than loans on these Galatasaray and all these jokers.
You could argue PSG.
They beat Bayern Munich 3-0 easy beginning, and Bayern Munich were lucky to have drawn with them 2-2. They outclassed them. They're a fantastic team. To go there and thump Leipzig and to contain them, they didn't have any threat. Like, there's no threat. More saying like, oh, did we?
What about Openda?
We were playing at home. I'm not disrespecting Leipzig, but it was men against boys. We had them. We contained them. They couldn't do anything.
I thought Openda was a threat, to be fair.
They didn't do anything. There was nothing that they had. Other than that counter-attack that they scored that goal. But City just changed the game. The thing is, I've said before, one thing I'm criticizing City is we need more players to win us games. We need extra players. But today, Pep showed why we are the best team in Europe. Not any other team, other than probably Real Madrid, will walk it. Not even Real Madrid. They don't walk into Leipzig and beat them 3-1. No one else. We beat them. We contain them. Rodri, masterclass again. Vardy showed why at such a young age, he's one of the best defenders in the world by far. I've been saying it for a long while. And then you see the composure when he keeps the ball. He's under pressure. He doesn't panic. And you see, when I used to say to people a long time ago that Julian Alvarez reminded me of Gabriel Batistuta, people laughed at me. Oh, what do you mean? I said, look at his shot. Have you seen how Gabriel Batistuta, when he shoots, bang, top corner, curls, top corner. He never jokes around. He's the only finisher. He's deadly up front. Deadly finisher.
Alvarez doesn't slam the ball at a million miles
he
an hour.
Doesn't joke.
Like
he doesn't place the ball. He's so confident up front,
Yeah.
And he was the guy that never got the credit for Argentina's World Cup. Never got the credit. Sure. Because if they had played most guys Lautaro, these guys would have been out the World Cup by qualifying stage against Saudi Arabia. Alvarez comes on, he changes Argentina, amazing the World Cup. He wins everything as a player. He's won everything as a player at the age of 23. No players ever won. And Haaland, for me, confidence, man. Don't worry about it. Great players have not done well. Couple of games, R9 and all these guys, they've not done well. But you need to back them. I back all my players. But one thing about it is, it's a warning to Arsenal, who are giving all that, and they couldn't even do it against Lens. They were giving all that, a team that finished 15th in League A. And then Newcastle there. Big up Newcastle. Why St. James Park is football heritage in the Champions League? I recall when I was a child and I watched them beat them with Keith Gillespie cross, Faustina Spear header. Never forget it. My brother's a Newcastle fan. Newcastle in St. James Park, they're tough. I lost to them last week. I was humble. I put my hand up. But every other day, Stadium Emirates, and they're not.
Hang on. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you out. Hang on. I'm going to call you out. And then people are going to call me an Arsenal lover. These are, it's about heritage. If you say Newcastle and St. James's Park has got Champions League heritage, you do realize like Arsenal beat at home the club that's considered the greatest club team of all time in Barcelona. Like they have done that before. Like Arsenal have got, listen, they haven't won it, right? And I'm not taking anything away from Newcastle tonight. But to say Newcastle have Champions League heritage, they haven't done anywhere near as much in the Champions League as Newcastle. Slow down on that one a little bit.
We got some iconic moments in the Champions League, but not any long, deep tournament run.
Exactly.
We have some iconic moments.
Arsenal are not intimidating the Emirates. People don't understand. Emirates is not intimidating. Are we serious?
But you can say that because you're City, because you go slap them every time.
Newcastle, the fan base, I don't know about it, that these guys are loud. I feel when I go play in Liverpool, Newcastle, it's like, whoa, man. These fans are passionate. Like, I give them credit for that. We don't have passionate fans like this. These guys are rocking. The time we had it was we rocked Real Madrid fans. We rocked Real Madrid when Real Madrid spoke about the worst night in their history.
I love
was City. The atmosphere. The Marca said it. I didn't say it. Marca said it. But St. James Park, the reason why they won today is you could hear the stadium. You could feel the aura. You know, Newcastle fans, they've been through it. These guys love football. It's everything. Arsenal fans are working in the bank. They're going home and having a coffee been too long. These guys are proper passionate fans. I'm so proud of my guys.
You're talking about Arsenal. You're really talking about Arsenal. You're bringing Arsenal today. I don't know why, but without Rodri,
He brings them every street.
I'll take the compliment.
Guys, you're going without Rodri. Rodri was the glue today, and I saw that. And if you don't see it, you don't want to see it. Rodri was the glue today. He's the one who glues that team together. Without Rodri, going to the Emirates, can you still be the same as confident as you are today against Leipzig, going to the Emirates?
Absolutely. Emirates doesn't intimidate. Fulham have gone there to get a draw with 10 men. What are we doing here? You're laughing more, but it's true.
I think it's a different Hamza. I think it's a different kind of imitation. I think it's a different kind of, because every stadium, every fan base has their own vibe to it.
Yeah,
like Savannah, when you go away to Turkey or Savannah Zvezda, you're afraid that you're going to get a freaking glass bottle or a pistol
Old
shot.
Trafford used to have this vibe with Ferguson era in the champ. You used to just go there and say, "Oh my God,
we're going to lose."
Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm going to say is this: I'm not suggesting for a moment, and I know why you're bringing Arsenal up because you're playing them this week.
Yeah.
Arsenal also have been a long time without having a Champions League game at home. Their first Champions League game at home in 5, 6, 7 years. They just went and won 4-0 as well. So let's just keep things like on an even kill here. And listen, if you're going to talk history of Arsenal, look, they've had some great results home and away against some impeccable teams in the Champions League. And I'm taking nothing away from Newcastle tonight, but to suggest that Newcastle's Champions League pedigree is above Arsenal's. We know Hamza that you used to be an Arsenal fan and you hate on them now because you left them. But we get it. This is who is the Champions League top goal scorer. It's Alvarez and Rasmus Højlund, I believe.
Alvarez got 3 goals and 2 assists. It's Alvarez now.
Well, Alvarez, him and Rasmus Højlund's got 3 goals. Yeah, joint top goal scorers. The only good thing we've got going for us. Well done, Raz. Leipzig is better than Rennes and Galatasaray.
Lens and Galatasaray.
I think if I were to rank, I watch all 3 of these teams. For me, I would probably, yeah, I would go RB Leipzig.
Listen, Leipzig are better than them.
Way better than both.
No. The thing about Lens under Frank Heijs is they take players that aren't superstar players. They have Przemysław Frankowski from Chicago Fire. You know, the guys like that from the lower, they coach them up.
We know they are, but at the same time, we get this analysis a lot as well. You know, like there'll be based on this same logic, Man United are better than City because we beat Wolves and City didn't.
Right. You can't.
That's what that logic is aiming at. Well, we beat a better team than those guys are, and we know City are better than us, but football doesn't quite work.
It's funny as a meme. As a meme, it's funny.
As a meme, yeah. Because Kaz always does it, doesn't he? On Never a Foul. Every time a team that Man United have beat gets draw or beat another team, he does the thing where he's drinking a cup of tea. Yeah, it's fun. Now you know why Messi loves Alvarez. He loves him so much that he is giving him half his Ballon d'Ors.
I bet Messi loved that result tonight.
I bet he did. Guys, get off tells Arsenal. Sorry, get off tell Arsenal beat. Get this guy off. Tell Arsenal beat Man City, best team in the FA Cup final.
What?
Oh yeah, Arteta's first trophy. He's talking about Arteta.
That was a semi.
That was the semis. He beat that.
Semi-final. Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I am excited about that game. I'm not even going to lie to you. This here is a weird comment. This one here says Champions League and Premier League Premiership. It ain't been the Premiership for about 15 years.
Scotland.
It says Championship and Premiership and Cup matches will catch up to Newcastle and Eddie Howe will be sacked.
Man.
Yeah, right.
It's all that.
Yeah, right.
This is Newcastle / cartoons. Okay, Toon, I get it. Won't be in the Champions League next season because Liverpool and Spurs have stepped up again this season.
We'll see.
Possible.
Long season.
Exactly.
Very long season.
I take it game by game.
Not if they keep asking to replay games, it won't.
yeah. It's it's mad. Like, I've actually backed Liverpool the whole way on this up until the replay the game thing. In reality, and not even because they've asked for it. It's because when we all said you guys want to replay, you probably all had the venom from Liverpool fans saying we haven't asked for it. and now they have. It's bless them, bless the little cotton.
Terry,
socks.
it's like when your homeboy does something stupid and you back him because you're like, I got to. But then he does something way stupid and you're like, I can't do it no more. That's Liverpool with the replay. It's just like, all right, I can't go there.
I hear you on that. Viewers, make sure like buttons are being hit. Please make sure you are subscribing. I did want to ask a question because having City fans on the Newcastle fans is quite an intriguing thing for this. Miggy Almirón. Like, is his improvement and his arc partly connected to Jack Grealish saying he was shit?
I don't think it hurt. I think there is part of it, yeah. All I want to see out of Miggy, and he has done, to be fair, he has the purple patches of scoring. I think if I'm not mistaken, because I remember last year he scored a golazo against Fulham, and then he scored again and again. He scored like 5 out of 6 or something like that, and then it kind of chilled out the rest of the season, somewhere around there. This might be his purple patch, but like performance-wise, he's improved a lot. Like immensely.
He still needs to get his head up, though. He still needs to get his head up and know when to pass.
Zero it. Exactly. He's a limited.
He's a confidence player, though. He's a confidence player. Edide Howe's got him. He's very confident, and he's actually very streaky as well. Like, he'll get his purple patch and then he'll die for a little bit. But as long as he's not injured because he came off. But yeah.
Do I get that? Do I get a chance to slack Jack Grealish because we
no.
do it, or no? I don't.
Do not insult Grealish in my presence, or we will have crosswords.
I want to say, as Grealish in recent weeks turned back into Luke Chadwick again.
No,
there was never this Luke Chadwick. Stop with this Luke Chadwick. I hate you so much.
The easiest team in the world to hide inside is Manchester City and any Pep's team. That's how great Pep Guardiola is. That's how great Pep Guardiola is. Pep Guardiola is very good in hiding his players' flaws. Every player has a flaw. Every player. Erling Haaland, even Messi has a flaw. But he's very good in hiding it. The problem with Jack Grealish is that now there is a player that showed up at the club, probably unknown, didn't play in the top 6 leagues or didn't play in the top club, and suddenly he's lighting everything up and he's providing something else than Haaland. Last year, it was Haaland. Haaland hasn't scored his chances, but someone else is stepping up. Alvarez as well. So now Jack Grealish is on the pitch. If Haaland isn't scoring the chances, he isn't providing enough output. And that's what we talked about last year. You cannot hide anymore because you have to show up now. It's very obvious and people won't talk about it. Because Jack Grealish is a nice guy. Jack Grealish is a nice guy. I get it. He's a nice guy. You love him. He's the face of the club. He's
performed. He's already we've already got the money that he
performed when?
Last year. We won the Champions League because of Jack Grealish.
You're telling me.
Real Madrid
last year, I said that Jack Grealish, for me, holds the ball, draws fouls, draws players. If you're £100 million player, you need to get up.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question for the panel?
Yes.
If Jack Grealish wasn't at Man City and you had another good quality player in your team instead of him, would like Doku would have been there last year instead of this year? Okay. Mitoma, anyone like that. If it wasn't Jack Grealish, do you think City would have still won the treble last year without Jack Grealish?
No. Definitely not. He was one of our best players last season. I don't know. I watched every single minute of Man City last season.
I do as well.
You didn't watch as much as me, so I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now that Jack Grealish was a superior player to Kevin De Bruyne last season. I don't really care what you think about that. He was better than Kevin De Bruyne last season. Absolutely. The only outfield.
Guys, let Nobbins explain why, so I can hear him. Sorry.
The only outfield players last season that were better than Grealish were probably in all competitions were probably Ake and Erling Haaland for obvious reasons. Without Jack Grealish,
Rodri.
Pardon?
Rodri.
Again, I think Rodri's a lot of recency bias. First half of the season, he wasn't fantastic. Jack Grealish was actually, even Haaland wasn't consistent. Grealish was our only consistent performer throughout the entirety of last season.
I thought he was very good last season.
He was fantastic. So I'm not having this thing of I don't want to misquote Mo. I think Mo said something along the lines of he wasn't that good last season, something like that. That's just nonsense. That's just nonsense. There's no way.
Okay. In your opinion, yes.
We can't play our football without Jack Grealish based on last season. Now does he should he score? Is he perfect? No. Should he score more goals? Yes. But people have this weird idea that I swear people didn't watch Jack Grealish at Aston Villa. They think that Grealish at Villa was this amazing 1v1 direct wing who would always take on his man. If you watched any Aston Villa, and I watch a lot because I really like Grealish at Villa, that was not his game at all. So he goes to City and people now want him to be something which he just isn't. That's not his game at all. What Grealish does is he helps control the play and he helps slow things down. It's not sexy, but he helps get City up the pitch into those goal-scoring positions. He progresses the ball into the final third. He progresses the ball into the penalty area. Again, that is not a sexy thing to do. And visually, it's not something that you're naturally drawn to. But if you know what you're looking for, then you know exactly what Grealish provides to the side. So I'm just not having it. You can criticize his performances this season, sure, but I'm not hearing any criticism of last season. No shot.
Nobbins, I think he's a brilliant facilitator.
He is.
Brilliant facilitator. That's for me. And he's so good at recognizing space and where to drive with the ball, where to pass, I agree with you.
Yeah, and we want to talk about output, quote, even though I think, like just focusing on big moments is a bit silly, but if we want to talk about, quote, big moments, a goal at Old Trafford and a goal at the Emirates and an assist at Stamford Bridge and all these other really key moments in which Grealish contributed to in respect of direct output, not even talking about his overall play.
Anybody, any decent player in the Man City system last year, in the way you played football, and you were sensational at the end of the season, will be able to get the ball at the line, any decent player, and do that. You guys at Man City, you do that. Some of your players were absolutely phenomenal last year. KDB was phenomenal. Bernardo Silva was phenomenal. Jack Grealish was a good player on the team, was part of the team. For me, I thought that everybody else would have done any good player. I'm not going to say average. I'm not going to compare a player from Championship and compare him. Jack Grealish, Aston Villa was good, yes. He was the heartbeat of that team. He wasn't getting every output, yes. But Jack Grealish last year was just holding the ball, yes, driving the team, but teams already defend against Man City. Teams already sit back against Man City. We're with Jack Grealish. It's as simple as that.
Which makes exploiting that space even harder.
And he doesn't even have the space. That's what he
doesn't.
It's not that.
It's not that. This is the thing. I know this generation, they live on assists, but I've been saying it.
What generation?
The guy. He drugs 4 players out position, like 3-4 players out.
Exactly, Hamza.
Like, and then there's a space free. And then suddenly we play 1 to KDB, back to Haaland, but people don't look back. Oh,
can I ask a question? Can I ask a question though? Right, I'm not saying that Jack Grealish doesn't do those things because he does. We've all watched him do it, and it's important. Yeah. Is it just the case maybe that a lot of other football players are also not judged on the other elements of their game that are not goals and assists as attackers? Because what I mean by that is that I notice this all the time. There are certain people that are always judged for things they don't do. And maybe there's a little bit of that going on with Jack Grealish, and City fans have his back. And I always think this reminds me a lot of Liverpool supporters who for years defended Firmino when he wasn't scoring and he wasn't assisting. They said that he was a facilitator. And the word they used, he was a defensive striker. So he did a lot of pressing, a lot of winning the ball back.
Dirty work.
This is when the acid test will be. If you guys keep winning, you're never going to be able to disprove it per se, other than opinions. Where it becomes interesting is you guys as City fans, if Pep leaves next in the summer, let's say he does, and then you guys start to struggle a bit more, you fall off a little bit, and Jack Grealish isn't scoring and assisting, I'll be interested to see how many City players suddenly don't mind him not being a key influencer in terms of outputs per game. Because when Liverpool dropped off, suddenly the lack of goals and assists from Firmino became a really big problem within a large percentage of their fan base. And I'm not saying Jack Grealish isn't a good footballer. I think there's so much about him that's impeccable. Obviously, when I call him Luke Chadwick, I'm being very facetious. It's a little bit of a joke. I know that jokes are almost illegal in the UK this day and age, and people get very, very offended. Surprised that, is it section 4A or section 4B 1994? I'll end up having the police at my door because somebody's going to be overly offended by it one day. But for me, it's a case of like, I do still want to see a bit more from him in the sense of I see him beat people, and he's in a position to make a good pass or have a shot that's conceivably going to go in, and the final ball, that shot doesn't go in. And that, for me, is where my issue lies, is I know he does all those other good things, but I've also seen him in positions where he should get a lot more assists or at least create the chances, and he should score a little bit more.
He
doesn't quite do it. So for me, I'm not saying that he's been a pointless signing, but I would still say that there are times, like tonight, there's so many times where I thought I'd got the better of his man, put that ball across that 6-yard box, someone will tap it in. and he'll cut back and go the other way. And for me, I just think sometimes you'd score more. Again, you're a brilliant team, so nobody notices because you end up winning anyway. But
Exactly.
Is that the
I
same as
want to
last-
add
is
a
that-
point
sorry.
here.
Is
Can I
that the
add a
same as
point? Very
Arsenal?
important. I'm sorry,
Sorry.
guys. I want to add a point.
Let me check.
Man City, because Man City are a good team and are winning. You guys last year are doing what, for example, Liverpool are doing with Darwin Núñez. In my opinion, Darwin Núñez is a good player. When I say Jack Grealish isn't up to the level, I'm not saying Jack Grealish is a bad player. He's a good player. But is he that superstar that everybody makes him to be? For me, Darwin Núñez, because Liverpool are winning now, nobody is highlighting the flaws in his game. When Liverpool were losing last year, Darwin Núñez was still creating chaos, was still running behind, was still missing chances that people say he's missing now. But because Liverpool are winning now, everything is fine. The sugar is there, the tea is sweet, and everything is great.
Fly's amazing.
It's one of the
No.
best.
I'm not.
No,
I didn't say.
no.
Don't put words in my mouth. That's the whole point about it. When teams win, guys, it hides flaws. We're not saying that Jack Grealish is a bad player. All my point is, for me, Jack Grealish was probably the 8th or 7th most important player at your club. I can name 8 players if you take them out last year, you would not have been playing the same football. The KDBs, the Rodri, Ederson, Diaz, Ake, even Akanji, right? Haaland. If a
You know
lot
what
of
also helps
people,
Jack Grealish? Again, what helps Jack Grealish, and a lot of players get, I'm not saying he's getting away with something, but we also know when you pass that eye test, and Jack Grealish passes the eye test both with his footballing ability and how he looks. He's a very good-looking man. When you pass the eye test, you do also get away with more than somebody that doesn't. There are players that actually fail the eye test who deliver that will get more stick than a player that doesn't. So I do get it, and I do understand his importance in your team, but I don't necessarily think you had to spend £100 million to get that quality. I think others
Is he
would have
similar
done it.
to Gabriel Jesus at Arsenal?
Did
Is
he
similar
against
to
Real
Jesus
Madrid
at
and Bayern?
Arsenal? The same way Arsenal fans talk about Jesus, he doesn't really score, but his link-up play, all the chaos, he's so integral to their team. But isn't he the same as Grealish? Like he should be scoring a lot more. Jesus should be scoring a lot more.
I prefer
but because Arsenal win when they win, it's no problem.
Let me give you an example. I said it to City fans. The day Sterling leaves our club, we're winning UCL. They laughed at me.
Wow.
Oh, you can't. I said, football is 11 men. You're joking.
Respect, Sterling.
No, 1 second. No. But I've seen Champions League for many years. Champions League needs intelligent players. You cannot miss sitters. You have to work as a structure. I'm telling you, I've seen Champions League being won. Look at most team, smash and grab team that didn't deserve it against Barcelona, won the treble. What a joke. Yeah, we've had Chelsea finishing 5th, went and won it. Liverpool finished 5th in this league, went and won it. You need a structure. In Champions League, you can't play the same way as the league. Grealish suited the way we played. He did well against Bayern Munich. He was excellent against Bayern Munich. He was excellent against Real Madrid. That's it. That seals it. If you can do to the elite level, I don't care about Bournemouth and these other little teams. They're nobodies. The big level of Real Madrid at Bernabeu, Grealish did it. Allianz Arena, nutmeg. Muller pretended he was running back. He got nutmeg. He was outstanding.
Amazing nutmeg, guys. Now we're praising Jack Grealish for a nutmeg. Hamza, you have no idea about football. I'm sorry, my man. Because in the Champions League,
I don't know about that.
It's all about results in the Champions League. Even your manager said that in the Champions League, it's not about the system and it's not about anything. It's about getting the result. Your manager said that I surrender positions sometimes. And he did last year against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, which is something that is not accustomed, and that's why he won the Champions League. You lost against Madrid the year before because you kept pressing while winning the game, and the game was on your pocket. You changed the way you play football, Hamza, because you grew up. I don't know. You're old enough to know, but I don't know if you watched football before Pep Guardiola came to Man City or not. But you only watch football when you think the football is just ball position. That's the problem. You study history and everything, but you don't know about the football that it's not only about having the ball position, my man. It's about absolutely getting the result. So thank you so much. Ancelotti said it, Arrigo Sacchi said it, Alex Ferguson said it, even your manager that you think knows most, which is I respect, your manager is one of the greats, said that it's not about the system and it's not about that at the Champions League against the top.
Oh, you got it wrong.
It's about we get the results in the league. In the league, the system works because it works against 17 out of the 19 teams you play. In the Champions League, it's about changing and adapting in the Champions League. So you got it wrong, my friend. Your manager even said it. You just
Guys,
don't know.
I'm going to go some more super chats here. This one here says, Grealish ain't it. I'm a City fan, but there's blind faith amongst local City fans to shelter Grealish. He ain't it. Stop protecting him, is what KP says here about Grealish. Gundogan, KDB, Rodri, and Haaland all better than Grealish last year, is what Football Breakdown says. Jack ain't even replicating his form he had at Villa, is what KP says. Imagine this City team with KDB and Stones with the new additions of Guardiola and Doku. Scary times ahead. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a madness. Haaland needs to be benched and Akanji must go.
God.
Haaland benched.
You know what?
This should attack Pep.
You know what? We laugh at that comment, but don't. This is Pep Guardiola. He has standards, bro, and he does not care who you are. If he feels you need to go whole bench, he'll do it. He don't give a damn.
Nobody's saying Grealish had a better year than any other outfield City player last year. Is the most Hamza thing. Oh, Hamza thing. Right, Hamza thing. I've ever heard someone else say.
But he didn't say this.
All right, I've got to address this. First of all, I didn't say that. Haaland had a better season. Secondly, if you want to bring up the likes of Gundogan, De Bruyne, Rodri, perfectly fine. I would suggest that's a lot of recency bias. The first half of the season, they were bordering on being like pretty average, to be honest. There was a conversation about is Partey and Casemiro being better than Rodri in the first half of the season. Same with De Bruyne, he was way below his levels. Grealish even Haaland had a drop. Grealish is the only player across the entire season last year in our treble-winning year who was great from start to finish.
I see, as an outsider, I don't agree with that. I think Grealish only really started after the World Cup. I don't remember.
That's because he started adding more goals to his game. But in terms of his overall play, it didn't really change pre-World Cup. Again, he was our most consistent and one of our best players.
I think Grealish is a player that just people. He's Marmite, right? He's Marmite to people. You either love him or you don't love him. He might be a player that needs to reinvent his game as he gets older and start to do.
I'll give you one player that was good at that. Clarence Seedorf. He would just drag the ball, run around, hold the ball back. He will never assist. You will never get the ball off him. And then 1-2, Kaka, bang, go, Crespo, go. Sure. Where did he start? Clarence Seedorf. Yeah, and people rated him after years.
Yeah, the difference is though there is a fundamental difference though when you look at the difference between Clarence Seedorf and Jack Grealish. The vast majority of his career he plays as a central midfielder, not as an inside forward in and around the box. So you can't compare the level of outputs of a midfielder, or even from his era, attacking midfielders are still just what we currently call eights. There wasn't really many players that played 10s in those days. That was often a second striker, like a Teddy Sheringham-esque kind of player. So, Hamza, I don't think you can say like Clarence Seedorf, and there's elements of their game that may look similar visibly, but the positions they play, I would still expect Grealish to get more goals and assists in a team as good as City than he does. Grealish is the English Forsberg. Now, that's disrespectful.
Wow. I like Emil Forsberg, but
and Mbappe is a fraud. Enrique regretting passing up on Chelsea. Edide Howe is the only English coach with brain cells.
I agree with that.
The last part,
the yards going in. I said Newcastle would beat PSG 2-1, but 4-1. I'm shocked. Grealish, Rodri, Haaland, and something I don't know who that's meant to be. Held City last year. Held their season is what he means. Grealish showed up with his assists. Knockout football is about winning, good or bad. I agree. And Seedorf and Grealish in the same sentence, please.
No. I'm not hearing. No. Who said that? Who said that?
Hamza.
I didn't compare.
Hamza, you're older than this, brother.
You literally, Hamza. You literally.
I said the way they held the ball is intelligent.
So
that's a comparison, bro. Hamza. That's a comparison. That is the definition. That's the definition. I mean, you're a lawyer, Nobbins. Would you consider that in a court of law a comparison?
I refuse to answer on the grounds I might incriminate my clients.
Thank you.
Corruption.
I love it. That's a great answer. That's actually one of the best responses anyone's ever done on the terrace. Listen, people, hit the like button for us, please. Make sure you're subscribing. Click on those bell notifications. More content tomorrow, including reactions to the Europa League games as well tomorrow night. We've got a big top 6 show for you on Friday as well. It is going to be epic as we build up to the final weekend before another international break and Arsenal versus City. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you. Oh, actually, Super Chat just come in. Sorry, it says, as an Arsenal fan, Terry, please stop inviting Egal. He gave Arsenal the kiss of death for yesterday's Champions League game after a good game versus Bournemouth. I'm not going to stop it. I can't. We don't do echo chambers, but thank you for the Super Chat, Robert. I appreciate that, bro. Take care, everyone. Goodbye. God bless. See you all again soon.